everybody. We are here with our esteemed guest. This is part two. We don't know if this is what episode it'll be, but this is part two.
Part something.
Part something, yeah. This is the Nesby Entrepreneurship SIG video series, Link Up Podcast. We are here with Jamel Daniels, real estate developer. Daniels. So we had part one. We went over our standard questions. We wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive. We had some questions that you guys wanted to know. We asked via Facebook, so we're gonna incorporate that. I'll introduce my co-host.
Right. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Harsh, the program's chair, and Jamel we have in the...
Said it right. He messed up like 7 times. So
I used to keep a note in my name.
Hey,
Jamel,
man, trust me, I feel you, man, because they always say Jason, JT, Jaden. I'm
you
like,
can't mess up Jason, man.
but it's J-Ton.
Oh,
See?
it's not Jason.
See?
you almost see it.
Y'all even now.
Yeah, we're even, but so I feel you.
All right. So, J-Ton.
You're the first J-Ton I met.
Really?
That's unique, yeah.
Oh, nice,
That is a unique name. I don't think I know any other J.
Yeah.
J-Ton.
J-Ton. But I say
J-Ton or J-D?
So J,
Ton,
well,
T-O-N?
so yeah, T-O and J-Y-T-O-N. So
Put a Y in there too. Okay.
yeah, my mom, man.
You know, that's sexy with it.
Shout out to my mom, man. J-Ton.
Mama J.
Yeah, it's like Jason. Yeah, but yeah, she wanted it to be unique. She didn't like the other names, so she's like, I wanted it to be like this. All right, mom. Well, I mean, I wasn't even born yet, but she's like, all right. I was like, cool, mom. That's what's up. It's different. So yeah.
So J-Ton is our programs chair. It also has your Zero to Necessary.
Right. Yep. Zero to Necessary that I'm doing with my mom. And again, our mission is to empower, encourage, and inspire children and adults to fulfill their goals and to reach their dreams. So that's what we're about.
Awesome. And our guest here, introduce yourself. Somebody might not have seen the first video, so.
My name is Jamel Daniels. I'm a partner and founders of Acropolis Developments. We are a real estate investment firm here in San Diego.
Dope. Real estate investment firm. I'm Brian Ware, your co-director, owner of Best Way Construction Services. I partner with Hands-On Technology Education, and just all around cool person. Cool guy, fun guy.
Not fun guy.
Yeah. I want to trade. Don't get me, Kawhi. Don't sue me, baby. But so anyway,
Go check his Instagram out.
yeah. I had a good time, man. But obviously, we this is part 2. We've had a good time. We want to bring you guys the real content, but we also want to deep dive into an opportunity to speak to someone who has a real estate development and investment business. So we'll get right into it. So one of the questions that was asked by my brother Brian asked this. He's a realtor actually here in San Diego. So he wanted to know, how can he invest with you and or Acropolis? I know in the previous segment you talked about having investors and things like that. So if someone sees this and they want to get with you about investing,
Very easy. You can email me, Jamel at acropolisdevelopments.com, or you can email just an inquiry at info at acropolisdev.com.
okay.
That's info at acropolisdev.com, or Jamel at acropolisdevelopments.com. And just send me an email, tell me your name and how I can contact you, and what's your investment, what type of investment you'd like to.
That's the next question. I'm like, now keep it so we don't waste your time and their time. Okay, 100,000. Here we go. You guys have it. If you maybe sold a property, it's out there. People have $100,000, especially nowadays. They're sitting on equity. They may have sold some property and just waiting for the next move. So definitely get with this man. And, don't let it sit in the bank. You might as well turn it into another investment.
Definitely don't let it sit in the bank.
Don't let it sit in the bank. Speaking of that, right? Are you familiar at all about that whole, reinvesting like a real estate sale? What's that called? There's like a legal or tax
1031 exchange.
1031 exchange. What's your knowledge? Just a brief summary on that.
Well, 1031 exchange is a vehicle for any individual to take profits from a real estate transaction that are outside of their primary residence and not be taxed on those profits. Because generally, you sell a real estate asset, I believe there's capital gains tax, and that's anywhere from 20 to 30%, depending on your tax bracket. Sometimes it can be even higher than that. So what a 1031 exchange allows you to do is sell a property, take the assets, the proceeds from that sale, and then reinvest them into another property without paying taxes. You're not going to pay the capital gains tax. You can forego capital gains tax as long as you buy another investment or like property I believe greater value within a 6-month period. It's either 90 days or 6 months.
That's real game. This is what we're talking about right here. So yeah, somebody may have sold something. You may have a relative. You may have inherited a property that you have sold or want to sell. Don't let it sit in the bank. You're going to get taxed on it for one. So use that 1031 exchange to reinvest. So educate yourself. Go talk to real estate folks. Reach out to my brother here. He's going to have something for you in a beautiful city of San Diego to invest in and be a part of.
And even if you just have questions, you don't know what to do with the money, I'm not always going to say, "Oh, give it to me, I want to invest it," because I'm going to give you this return. I can tell you, "Hey, you can try this, you can do this. Maybe you shouldn't sell. Maybe you should do this." I'm transparent as they come, so I'm open to help anybody who's got questions about real estate or how to invest or what they should do in the property, what's in their best interest.
Nice. I remember one thing you told me when we talked about investing and looking at opportunities. You suggested a condo is a good first start for somebody that's kind of starting off because you don't have to deal with so many outside factors like you have to do with the home. You may have foundation issues and other structural issues that can really put your cost over the edge in in terms of a budget. So anything to add on that, like in terms of, does that still hold true? Is that what you suggest maybe?
So you're saying if somebody was wanting to maybe remodel or rehab a property?
Yeah, like invest. Yeah, to flip or something or to rent or something.
Flip, definitely. Condos are probably the easiest barriers to entry when you're not going to have to worry about generally your roof. So most of the time, you don't have to worry about windows. You don't have to paint the outside. You don't have to worry about landscaping, the driveway, the backyard. Fencing is really just interior cosmetic remodel. That's a way to kind of get in and not have as much exposure to a lot of the downside risks that you have with a single-family residence, a house. So yeah, if you're new to the flipping game and you want to try to get your feet wet or start with your first project, a condo is a very good way to get into the market without exposing yourself to a ton of risk.
What's your biggest lesson learned, or give me your worst, situation that you've encountered with like a flip?
We bought a house, thought we were going to flip it, had to tear the whole house down and build another house. So
Wow.
that's how when things go bad and you think you're going to flip a house and you end up building a new house.
Was that just like like termites? Was it just like
it was a little combination of everything.
abatement and
Termites,
all that?
abatement was a house that was a hoarder house, and I was younger at the time and I was a little more aggressive. And I was telling my partners, "Oh, we can do this. We can buy this house, turn it over. I thought the purchase was like $450. I spent $80, $90K, put it back on the market. It was sold for high sixes. But what actually did happen was we got into the house after we took all the lady's trash. She had hoarded maybe 30 years of just trash in the house. Basically, the house just fell in on itself. The foundation was shot, the roof was shot, so we had to construct a new residence right up.
Order. That's great. Yeah, I've driven
We built
past.
more than we could chew on that.
Yeah. Okay. Jay, you want to ask the next question?
Yeah, is it the strategy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What is the best strategy to start first investment? Would you say a flip or
The best strategy to start if you're going to flip a house?
Yeah.
I think the best strategy is do your homework. Don't feel like you have to rush into anything. Just do your homework, educate educate yourself, and start small. Start with a condo, especially if you don't have any real estate experience or any real estate background. Start with a small condo. And if you're in San Diego and you want some help, some tutelage, you can shoot me an email and I'll help you. You can come in to my office and I'll sit down and give you, some knowledge, insight on what I think about what you should do if you really want some hands-on experience.
With condo, I noticed there's a lot of HOA though. So what would you suggest on that part? Cause,
How to deal with HOA?
yeah.
Well, as long as you get in a condo that is, some of the higher end condos where you're, I'd say above the 800K price point, or some of the more affluent areas like Coronado or La Jolla, you're gonna have a little bit more pushback from the HOA. They're gonna, require you to get permits. They're gonna want to know exactly what you're doing, step by step. So that is definitely something to take into account when you're working in an HOA association, homeowners association. Now, if you're starting off on small, I should say the entry level condos or homeowners association, you're not going to have those issues. Like if you're purchasing within the 2, 3, 400, 500K range, usually those HOAs aren't going to be as combative, or they're not going to be hovering over you during your construction process. For what are you doing? What color you're painting the house? Where'd you get those windows from? What are you doing structurally inside of the condo? So that's something definitely to keep in mind when you're repositioning or renovating a condo or townhouse is the HOA. So generally, the more expensive your condo, the more involvement you're going to have with the HOA.
Nice. Adding on to that question, what about like software, or like, obviously a real estate agent, when you look at your strategy, what type of software do you use, or would you suggest for somebody to like evaluate a property? How would you go about that?
Honestly, all the everything we use here is proprietary, and we created ourselves to evaluate properties using Excel spreadsheets and equations that we come up with. So to the novice, somebody who's just getting into it, I would just say there's some, that's the good thing about today and the internet, and transparency. Get to know a good agent, somebody you can work with who's going to help you find your property if you're not an agent, and just learn your market and try to use comps and learn your market as much as possible before you make a purchase and a decision.
And then I guess to add on to that, what's your rule of thumb that you guys use, or how do you kind of look at your construction costs? Like if you look at a property that needs some rehabbing, how do you kind of gauge, a budget for that? Like on a quick, without a quote or whatnot.
Well, we've been doing this a while, so we've probably repositioned and renovated, I'd say, close to 500 to 1,000 homes in San Diego. And most of the houses in San Diego, there's a typical type of house. You've got your condo, you got your townhouse, you got your single-family residence. It ranges from 1,000 square feet to 2,000 square feet. Those are mostly 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 4-bedroom, 2-bath houses, and they're all really similar. So after renovating so many houses, we kind of have a pretty big database. So I can see a house and look at it and reference it to its likeliness to another house and kind of know exactly what the remodel budget is going to be. Identical property maybe did 6 months or a year ago. Okay. And adjust for obviously inflation, rises in labor, things of that nature.
Yeah. So for you, it's historical data. Nothing like a 10% of the cost of the home or anything like that. Have you heard anybody do something like that before?
I don't like to use those things because then you have one house might have foundation issues, one house have electrical panel issues, one house might have a roof issue. But we do have line items for pretty much everything that could be wrong with the house, and we just go through it and check and mark it off.
Okay, dope. I know one thing that you told me before and we talked about was proximity too, right? Like, maybe look at something in your immediate area. You're talking about some stuff and you're like, yo, if you got something in Cali, SoCal, that's something you would, want to know about or be interested. Because, things could pop up, right? If you have tenants, if you have issues, you can, pop up and be more present instead of buying something that you can't see or you don't know about across the country.
Yeah, that's definitely something you want to take into account when you're purchasing an investment. Kind of everybody's different. Though. You got to know what your lifestyle is, what your obligations are, how much time commitment can you commit to, this property that's in Tennessee, or if your lifestyle and the way you're set up with your family and your work, if you can get out, hop on a plane and go someplace and that works for you. Some people can't. So I just would always take that into account when making an investment. Is how you're going to manage the investment and how's that going to work to fit into your lifestyle. And it's different for everybody. You can't answer what might work for you might not work for you, Jamel, or for me.
That's true. Okay. And then the last question that came across, it's not the last question, but from the people, from my homegirl Naomi Baptiste, my sister. She's a former.
What's up, Naomi?
What up, Naomi?
Hey.
Sock passe. My Haitian gal.
Yeah.
So Naomi's a former NESB leader here in San Diego, and instrumental actually in me getting into the director role here with the SIG. So she wanted to know, or her question was, how do I decide if I want to invest in a commercial business or property versus a residential? Real quick, my first thing would just be your price point, like your budget, right? Because I would say on average, usually your commercial properties are going to, the value and the entry level for that is going to be a lot higher than a residential property. So that would definitely probably be the first thing.
Yeah, it's going to have a lot to do with your, what you can, your price point, what you can afford to buy, and what your level of commitment is going to be towards your investment. And generally, you're going to get probably, I'd say long term, you're going to get a higher return on a commercial property, 5 units or more, because you can force appreciate those with rent increases. You're able to spread out the expenses over more units versus one. But they are, in our market here in California, they are more expensive as a first-time investment. But in other markets, like I said, I mentioned earlier, my buddy who bought something in Vegas, you can buy a commercial property for the price that you can get a house here. So it depends on the market that you're in. If you can muster up the funds and make it happen, I would definitely suggest going the commercial route and getting something with 5 or more units as soon as possible.
Okay. Yeah, so technically anything more than 4 units is considered a commercial property. 5 units is considered a commercial investment, so an apartment, complex, or things like that.
But that's not to say, if you're just starting, you can always build yourself up and make your way to that first 5-plex or 6-plex or 8-plex. It really depends on each individual's level of commitment and your funds. If you're a new person, I would say start off if you can. It's easier to find really good deals in the residential market because they're less sophisticated investors, less sophisticated owners. You can come across somebody who's willing to sell you their house at an extreme discount. It's a little bit harder to do that when you're looking at commercial properties because usually the owners of those, they're a little bit more sophisticated and it's not their primary residence. It's more of a business for them.
Nice. Segue on to, you mentioned the commercial property. You talked about in the other part of the interview about your friend using the business line of credit and things like that. So how does that work? What's your knowledge of leveraging, credit and things like that to acquire property?
Credit, and a lot of people have a negative connotation with credit, oh, it's bad, I'm going to pay cash for everything, but having credit, established credit is like one of the paramount processes, it's paramount premium in building growth and being able to purchase things cheap, otherwise we wouldn't be able to purchase. That's one of the great things about living in America is that we have credit. In other countries, we're still buying things in cash. So we have credit here. It's very important to make sure your credit's good. You manage your credit, stay on top of it, so that when you do want to go buy something or expand your business, you're not having to ask your friends and your family or fund it all yourself. That's the beautiful thing about America. You can have somebody else fund your dreams or your investment. So taking care of your credit, establishing business credit is very important because that's going to allow you to go and maybe be the seed capital for your your business or your down payment on your first investment property.
And then what about
And let me speak to that one more time. Having business credit is extremely important because it doesn't show up on your personal credit, which means you can pull out maybe 50 to 100K in cash on your business credit through business lines of credit, and then take that and use that as a down payment for your to buy a personal residence or a investment property, because that debt's not going to show up on your personal credit, and when they are qualifying you for your purchase of your investment property or your primary residence, they're going to look at your personal credit. So having that business credit established is a move you definitely want to make.
And I know with that, like the standard way, the traditional way, if you go to a bank and try and build your credit up that way as a business, they usually want to see years of returns and things like that. But I also know you can also purchase business lines of credit as well, right? I don't know if that's legal or not. But I mean, there's opportunities where you can, I guess, maybe partner with the business and assume and have that line of credit as well.
It's a little dicey. I think if you just take care of your credit, there's no shortcuts. You want to build a business and you want to build a process that you can stand on, and you can duplicate the process and not have to worry about, well, the person who co-signed for me, they're off doing this, or I bought this line of credit but it fell off because it was whatever. So if you don't have good credit, take the time to just fix your credit, pay off your collections, pay your charge-offs off, establish your credit. It might take a couple of years. But once your credit is good and it's in your name and it's your credit, you make all the decisions. I was a time when I hadn't paid some STGV bills, and I moved to San Diego, and I was from Stockton, and I missed a couple credit cards, so I had to suck it up and get my credit right. I had to pay the STGV or PG&E, that's what it was. Pay them off, call them up, was like, oh, can you take? No, we're not taking it off your credit. And it was on there for like 4 years. It was like $300, and they had my score down about 100 points. So I had to pay that off and just wait. It was like, it'll take 4 years to come out. Damn, 4 years? Wow. But you start now, 4 years is going to go by, it's going to happen. And then when I got my credit right, slowly but surely applied for some business lines of credit, and was able to take the credit out and use that to fund investments. So I would suggest just get your own credit right. You're trying to buy credit lines or have a personal guarantor or link up with somebody else, you're always going to be at the mercy of what that other person does, or if that credit line falls off. That's my advice.
Okay. I know before we talked about like hard money lending and things like that. So what's your knowledge of the hard money lending process? What do you typically need down, and interest rates and terms for hard money that you know or you've experienced?
Hard money is a beautiful situation. That's, again, somebody who finance your goals, your dreams, your investments. It's a little bit more expensive than institutional financing. Usually those rates range between, I'd say, 7 to all the way up to 12, 13% at one point. But if you find a transaction that's profitable enough, it'll make sense. Or if the margins are big enough, that's definitely a way you can get into something, get into an investment with a little bit no money down. There's hard money lenders that will fund the purchase in the renovation of the project, so you don't have to come out of pocket with very little, if anything, if you find a deal that has enough meat on the bone.
Nice. And I've heard, sometimes it could be no money down, 5%. I know I personally have spoken to a few people, and it was like 20% down on the type of property I was looking at, probably out of state and things like that. So they were talking, what I heard or seen was about 20% down, like on a straight up deal, but sometimes you can get it lower depending on if they like the property.
If you have a really good deal and you shop it around, it's a good deal, it's a no-brainer. You're buying something at 50, 60%. It's after renovation value. You should be able to find somebody to do 90% or even 100% of the purchase in rehab.
Right. And then there's shorter terms than like a bank would offer, though, usually 3, 5 years, right? Or
most of those are really short, 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
They want to basically finance you to purchase and reposition and stabilize the property. And then they're looking for you to either sell the property or refinance with long-term financing.
Okay. Give them their money back.
Cheap,
And give them their money back. So I think that was a lot of those are the main questions we had there. Jay, you have any questions? You're sitting with a developer right here, man. Anything you want to know?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the whole credit line and stuff, and taxes and stuff, right? And commercial real estate. So, what about? I've heard like you need to have a team in order to get into commercial real estate. Is that true? Do you think? Or
no, you can do it on your own. I know a lot of people that have bought commercial real estate assets on their own. It helps to have a team as you want to scale and do bigger projects and expand your footprint. It does help to have a team, but I don't for no reason I would recommend somebody not to get into commercial real estate because they don't feel like they don't have a team. Like I said, invest in yourself, educate yourself, get your licenses. You don't have to get your licenses, but just educate yourself about the arena or the market you want to be in. You do not have to have a team. So invest or be in the commercial real estate market at all.
Last question I thought of. Okay, so talk to me about like the marketing side of things, right? Because I'm not saying you guys, but I feel like you kind of almost act as a wholesaler at times too, right? Tell me about the marketing side, about that part. You know, I mean, you're a developer, but you want to acquire properties for a good price. You know what I mean? And it's different ways you can do that, right? But it takes marketing to reach out, right? I'm sure cold calls and
all the
advertisements.
You gotta let people know that you're looking for that you're a buyer of real estate, whether it's an apartment complex or a condo. You gotta let people know that you're looking for that. You have cash and you can purchase. And there's, once again, today's technology is beautiful. It's not 1990 where you gotta send, write a letter out, put a stamp on it, put it in the mail. You can email 1,000 people like a click of a button. All those 1,000 people know, hey, Brian is looking to buy a house and he's got cash. You can call people, you can text people, you put it on your Facebook, you put it on your Instagram. So all the way we communicate, you communicate with your friends and family, email, text, letters. That's all the above. That's how we communicate with the real estate market and homeowners, letting them know that we are purchasing for cash real estate in San Diego.
What would you say is a budget you could spend or have spent on marketing to do that? Like, I mean, you're a business, you're a legit yourself, like in terms of, a team to call, advertisement, a Facebook post, like how much,
Would you say
2,000 a month or something?
So is this question for the individual who wants to get started, or?
Yeah, I think so, right? I mean, there's somebody, people talk about getting into real estate, and I heard people say they want to get in like the wholesale side of things, or even realtors that are finding deals and things like that. So maybe the personal person, but like a realtor, somebody that wants to grow, but understand that it does take,
That's a very good question. So if you're just starting out and you're a one-man show or you're a realtor, your investment to get your first couple deals really shouldn't be anything more than your time. You shouldn't have to invest a lot of energy. There's enough. There's real estate agents out there that's their job. They go and they knock on doors and they talk to homeowners and they're trying to find people who want to sell their house. So you can let as many real estate agents know as you possible that hey, I want to buy this type of product. I want you to bring this type of product to me. That's their job. They'll bring that to you. So you can just go to mixers, go to different brokerages, let people know who you are. Send an email out to them. Get a list of all the real estate agents in your immediate area. Send an email out to them. Keep sending emails out to them and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking to do, and that can work. If you want to go straight to just direct to sellers, you can knock on doors and hand out letters, write letters to people, and that still works. It's going to take time. None of these tactics or strategies are going to be like, on Monday you send some emails out, and on Friday you got realtors and got a deal for you. It takes time. You have to be committed to the process. And the best thing I can say is be committed to the process and put in the time and have some type of structure for you. Like say, okay, I'm going to send X amount of emails on Monday, then I'm going to send X amount of emails on Thursday. I'm going to write this many letters every week. I'm going to go door knock on this amount of doors every day. And if you keep that schedule consistently over and over and over again, in the course of 6 months, you will pick up deals. And then again, the internet. There's so much information and wealth of knowledge on the internet on how to do anything you want to do. You spend an hour on YouTube and podcasts, you'll find somebody telling you exactly what you need to do and how to do it. But basically, sending emails, knocking on doors, sending letters is a great way to start for somebody who just wants to break into real estate and find data, their first deal. And that's most of that is going to be a time commitment, not so much a monetary commitment up front. Once you start getting a couple of deals and you want to do more than one deal every 3, 4, 5 months, you want to have some consistency, then you will have to spend money and scale and reinvest some of your profits back into your business.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that's another reason why I asked it. Obviously, you remember I had the store, and that was one big thing that I realized was important with marketing and getting out there and being consistent with that. We talked about that in the last segment about consistency of being an entrepreneur. But I think a lot of times we forget or we don't put as much emphasis into that reinvestment into marketing and branding and doing all that. And it plays an important part. I've found out spending a little bit of money on that is important if you have it. But obviously, if you're starting off, it's the time. And then, like you said, scaling it to reinvest that money into growing the business and things like that is always important in any business you're doing. But so I just wanted to re-emphasize that because that's kind of been another thing we've talked about too, is the importance of reinvesting in yourself, your business through marketing and things like that. So
I think one thing that's just important in any type of business is you just consistently set out, identify the tasks that are going to get you to achieve the level of success that you want. So try to reverse engineer the goal that you want. So your goal is you want to make X amount of dollars doing in this business. Okay, what do you have to do to make this $100,000? I need to sell this many of this. So reverse engineer. If I need to sell 50 widgets, how many customers do I need to come by and talk to sell 50 widgets? I got to talk to 500 customers to sell one widget, so that means I got to talk to 500,000 people to sell my X amount of widgets. How do I talk to those 500,000 people? Just reverse engineer it, put it on a schedule. Okay, this every day and stay consistent, and eventually the world will start turning and the results will start showing. You see the results that you want. Consistency is really important. That's one thing that everybody who I've seen has been successful within real estate. They've consistently done the same thing, and they've kind of just snowballed and built on past successes and kept doing the same thing.
Yeah, I like that reverse engineering part. I think that's a good point to look and see what you want to hit and back your way into that and kind of scale it. This is how many people I need to contact every day or every week and things like that. So I think that's a great way to look at it. I just took that for myself. I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean,
that goes with anything. How do you get to this goal? Whether it's in a sport or meeting, you want to get to certain, you want to meet somebody, or you want to buy this house, or you want to, any type of goal, you can pretty much reverse engineer it in life and say, how do I get there? What do I need? What are the steps I need to take to get to my end goal? Just break it down as many baby steps as possible.
Yeah.
Because any task can seem kind of daunting. You're like, oh, I want to be the biggest car dealership in San Diego. Damn, that's a lot. How do I get there? How many cars I need to sell? I need to sell, 300 cars a month. So how do I do that? I got to talk to how many people I got to talk to sell one car. I got to talk to 80 people to sell a car. So to sell 300 cars, I got to talk to 2,400 or 24,000 people.
Yeah. That's a good game right there. That's it. Reverse engineer and break it down like that. And yeah, it kind of gives you, like I said, it's not as daunting. It gives you a daily or weekly goal, and you know what I mean.
Something that's attainable.
Yeah. It doesn't make it seem as daunting there. So, okay, well, another good segment there. Got a bit more in depth with everything, So hopefully you guys are going to go out and be successful investors, agents, developers, and whatnot. And
we can work together. So call me or email me. Let's collaborate.
Call this man. Hook up. He's got good connections, good resources. He's been doing it for, I mean, I think when I was in school when I first met you, you were already in real estate back in so.
You sound real old.
Making myself sound old. When I was in school and I was a young lad. But
My day.
yeah. So I know you've been at this and you have a lot of real world experience. And I mean, I remember you pushed through the downturn, the previous downturn, man. I think when I talk about you, I'm like, man, you've been doing this since the previous recession and made it through that, you know what I mean? Not to age, my brother. You already told your age. Anyway.
5 recessions.
Yeah, the Great Depression, that jumping on his legs, who was pushing him? He was right there. So, but anyway, no, thank you very much. Very insightful. We talked about maybe doing some other stuff, maybe do a stock session as well. But yeah, please reach out. How can they reach out and find you again?
Info at acropolisdev.com or Jamel at acropolisdevelopments.com.
All right. Or the website, www.acropolisdev.com.
Send us a DM. Find us at Acropolis Developments on Instagram.
All right. And then, Jay, how can they get a hold of you?
For Zero to Necessary, it is the word zero, ZERO, 2 TO, necessary. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All these social media.
And then for the Nesby Entrepreneurship, we're at Nesbypreneur Sig on Twitter and Instagram, Nesby Entrepreneurship Sig on LinkedIn and Facebook. On YouTube, look up Nesby Entrepreneurship. Brian Ware is my page. I think it's under my page. Feel free to subscribe. Get them clicks up. I think we're also under the Nesby Professional channel there. You guys can follow me at DBWare. My website is www.bwcs.info for my construction management business. And you can look up hands-on technology education, the STEM camp information on Facebook and Instagram as well. So, thank you again, brother, for your time. And thank you for listening, for viewing. Hopefully you got some good information. If you have questions, feel free to comment on YouTube or on Instagram where we post it. And we'll definitely try and make sure it gets back to Jamel, or, you guys can share knowledge. That's what we're here to do. So, thank you again for tuning in to the link up, to the podcast, to the video series, and stay tuned.